Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Rachel, the designer behind Evelyn and Peter, and today I have a really fun Tunisian crochet bag pattern for you guys. I'm actually really excited about this one. I haven't done a Tunisian pattern in a long time, so I hope you guys like this. This is what it looks like. Ta-da! It's currently nameless. I still haven't named it yet. Usually I like to ask my Instagram followers for name ideas, and this one was kind of a surprise pattern, so I haven't done that yet. But it's kind of got a little retro look to it, and it's just a nice side bag like this, little crossbody. So the yarn you are going to need, I used We Crochet, which is just a worsted cotton yarn, and you are going to need, let's see, 2 skeins or 230 yards of your main color, and then 1 skein each of 3 different colors. So you'll have 4 colors total. And for the other colors, you're not going to need much at all. It's just these stripes here on both sides. So that is what I used for mine. And this color is Swan, and then I used Mint, Cream Brulee, and Clementine for these colors. And then you are also going to need a 6.5 millimeter Tunisian crochet hook. Sorry, I'm like looking off my computer as I'm telling you guys this. So you can either use the straight hook, the like metal straight ones that don't bend, or you can use the hook with the cords on the end, like the adjustable cords. And that's what I prefer to use, but it really doesn't matter. It's whatever you're most comfortable with. So a 6.5 millimeter in that one. And then you're also just going to need a 5.5 millimeter and just a regular crochet hook to do that's what I use to join the panels together and for the strap as well. And then it's just worked up in 2 separate panels. So you'll work from the bottom up, 2 of these panels here. And this is in the Tunisian Knit Stitch. And then you will work regular crochet, joining them together, just single crocheting around, as well as making the strap and this upper trim part here at the top. So it's super easy. I hope you guys like this pattern. I have the written pattern available currently with Stitch Together Official, and I'll link all of that in the description below so that you guys can grab your PDF, which is available on stitchtogetherofficial.com. We are doing it as a crochet along in the month of June. So if you guys want to take part of that, then go ahead and get the written pattern and join us in our group, and I'll link everything for you in the description. But I hope you guys like this pattern, and let me know in the comments what you think, and if you want to see more Tunisian patterns from me, or if you like it or not. And if you have any questions, let me know as well. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys next time. So to make your bag, you're going to need a Tunisian crochet hook. I'm using one with an interchangeable cord, but if you only have a straight metal one, that's fine as well. And you need it to be a K 6.5 millimeter hook. And then you're also going to need a regular crochet hook, 5.5 millimeter, as well as some worsted weight cotton yarn. I'm using Dishy from We Crochet, and it's just 100% cotton, and you'll need it in 4 different colors. So we are going to start off by making a slip knot with color A. So grab your main color or color A. I'm using my cream color, and then just wrap the yarn around your fingers and pull that yarn through. Insert your hook into the loop and pull tight to secure. And you need to make your starting chain, and so you will be working 34 chains total. So right now in the written pattern, we're on the foundation row and we're using color A, and we're chaining 34. So just yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Just continue doing that for a total of 34 chains. Once we have our 34 chains, we're going to work our way down that chain. So in the second chain from the hook, rotate it so you're looking at that back bump, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then insert it into the next back bump of the next chain, yarn over, pull up a loop. So you can see I'm just putting my hook in the back bump of every single chain. So you might need to just rotate that chain a little bit so you can see the loop on the back of it. And we're just going to work our way down that chain. So we had our loop on our hook, and then our hook went into the second chain, from the hook and in every single chain all the way across. So do this all the way across, pulling up 1 loop per chain. When you get to the end of the row, you should still have 34 loops on your hook, and now we need to work our return pass. So first thing you want to do is yarn over your hook and pull it through the first loop only. So just yarn over, pull through that first loop, and that is our end stitch. You will do this for every single row that we make. And then after that, you're going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops at a time. So yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and you're just going to do this all the way down the row. This is called the return pass. And that is the end of row 1, and now we are going to move on to row 2, and we're just going to be doing the Tunisian knit stitch for every single stitch. So you can see this front and back loop in the row below. You want to skip over that very edge corner one, and you want to work your stitch into the in between the following 2 bars, so the front bar and the back bar. You're going to insert your hook so it'll go underneath that front bar but above the back bar. Yarn over and pull up a loop. Do it in the next one as well. Yarn over, pull up a loop. Insert your hook into the next one. Yarn over, pull up a loop. And you're just going to be putting your hook in every single one of these stitches in between those bars. Yarn over and pull up a loop. And just do this all the way across the row. So again, when you get to the end of the row, you'll have 34 loops on your hook. So just continue picking up a loop every single stitch across. When you get to the end of the row, you need to work your end stitch. So this one can be a little tricky. Make sure you don't miss it. Right there on the edge, you want to insert your hook so you'll have 2 loops on that outside part, but above the little back bar. So you can see I'm inserting my hook right in between, yarning over, pulling up a loop, and then yarn over, pull through the first loop on your hook to make your edge stitch. And now you need to work your return pass. So again, you're just going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and just do this all the way back down the row until you get back to the beginning. And for the rest of this portion of the panel, you're just going to be repeating row 2, which I just showed you. So again, when you get to the end of this row, you're going to work your way back down by inserting your hook into every stitch, yarning over and pulling up a loop. So you're just picking up 1 loop per stitch. And when you get to the end, work your edge stitch as normal, and then work your return pass. Do this for a total of 21 rows. And then when we get to row 22, you can go ahead and work your TKS stitches across, so work your knit stitches across. But then when you get to the end, I will show you guys how to change our yarn colors because we will be adding in some stripes. So do this for 21 rows, and then on row 22, you can work your way down, and then I will show you how to join in your new yarn and return with it. So go ahead and continue repeating this for a total of 21 rows. Again, just so there's no confusion, 1 row is working your way down, working the edge stitch, and working your return pass. That counts as 1 row. At this point, you should have 21 rows made, and we are currently on our 22nd row. I've worked my way down using the knit stitch, And now we need to change colors. So you can drop color A, your working yarn, and bring in color B. And all you need to do is place color B over your hook. And then you're going to use that for the edge stitch. So pull it through that first loop on your hook to create the edge stitch. And then yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops again, and just continue doing your normal return pass, yarning over and pulling through 2 loops at a time. So do this all the way back down for the completion of row 22, and then you can go ahead and work your way back on row 23. And just a little tip, I like to tie a loose knot with my new color and my old color just on the end, just so that the stitch stays secure. Don't pull it too tightly, just a nice loose little knot right there on the end. So go ahead and finish your return pass and then work your way back down. Okay, so now we're about to work the edge stitch on row 23. So it can be a little bit confusing on the color changes, so make sure you don't miss that last stitch. Yarn over and pull up a loop, and just make sure your yarn changing doesn't come undone. Yarn over, pull through 1 loop for your edge stitch, and then work your return pass as normal, yarning over and pulling through 2 loops at a time, and just work your way back down the row to complete row 23. So from here on out, you'll be doing the same color change whenever it is required in the written pattern. So just make sure you're following along with that. And of course, as you change colors and as you go, you can snip your yarn. And then I just like to make sure that my knot is secure. So I'll check on that. So if you haven't already, you can make a little knot on the end so your stitches don't come undone. And just continue following along with the written pattern and change colors where it says to, and you'll be doing the same thing for every single row. Work your way down, work your edge stitch, work your return pass, and do this for the rest of the front panel, following along with the color changes that are written out for you. Okay, so at this point you should have 1 panel done, and it should be a total of 41 rows. So you can see all my color changes here and all these stripes. And at this point, we're going to work our border. So make sure you don't tie off your yarn after the final row. So we're just basically going to be working our way around the border of the panel, and we'll do this for both panels that we make. Both panels will be exactly the same. So we will be switching out our hooks at this point. So you can go ahead and grab your 5.5mm crochet hook and just switch out the hooks. We're going to be working along the top of our panel. Still insert your hook into the same spots as you have been, but now work a slip stitch. So in between the bars, like you have for every single stitch, you're going to insert your hook, yarn over and pull through. And instead of just pulling up a loop like you've been doing, you're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, and also pull through the loop on your hook. This is a slip stitch, and you are just going to be doing it all the way across the top of your panel. So you should be making a total of 32 slip stitches. So insert your hook into every single stitch and work 32 across the top. Okay, so we've worked 32 slip stitches, and when you reach the edge stitch, you're going to be inserting your hook into it and working 2 single crochet. So insert your hook into the corner edge stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then yarn over, pull through both loops on your hook for 1 single crochet, and then in that very same spot, work a second single crochet stitch. And at this point, if you want to, I recommend inserting a stitch marker into that second stitch that we just made, just to keep your spot. I didn't do it in the video, but I have it written out in the written pattern to place a stitch marker, so you can go ahead and do that if you prefer. If you are maybe not super experienced in crocheting, you can't recognize where your stitches are, you might want to place a stitch marker in that second single crochet. And then at this point, we're just going to be working our way down the side of the panel. So in that following edge stitch, so not the one where we just made a single crochet. I don't know why I just pulled that back out, but there's my second single crochet in the same spot. And then in that place right below it in the edge stitch, you're going to work another single crochet, and then another single crochet in the next one, and then another single crochet in the following one. So basically you're just working one single crochet into each edge stitch all the way down. And I just crocheted right over the tails, so I didn't crochet down the length of them, but when you reach the tail, just pretend they're not there and you can just keep crocheting. If you want, you can crochet over all of them so you don't have to weave in any ends, but just work one stitch into each edge stitch all the way down. So you're going to do a total of 32 single crochet, and then I will show you guys what to do when you reach that bottom corner. At this point, you should have those 2 single crochet in the first corner, and then work 39 single crochet down the side of the bag. And in this bottom left corner here, you need to also work 2 single crochet into the same space. And then after that, you're just going to continue along by working single crochet stitches along the bottom of the bag. And if you are using stitch markers, you will want to place your stitch marker into the first single crochet of that corner increase. So in the spot where you worked the 2 single crochet, place your stitch marker into the first single crochet that you made in that spot. So you're just going to continue along as you have been, working 1 single crochet per every stitch. So just insert your hook into the bottom of that first row of the panel and work 1 single crochet for every stitch all the way across the bottom. You'll be working a total of 32 single crochet along the bottom of the bag before working the next corner. Okay, and then when you reach the next corner, the bottom right corner of the panel, you're going to work 2 single crochet into the same space. And then if you are using your stitch markers, you will place a stitch marker into that second single crochet made. So in that spot where you worked the 2 stitches, place a stitch marker in that second stitch that you made. And then after that, you're just going to continue by working single crochet stitches up the side of the panel. So work your increase, which was 2 stitches in the same spot, and then work 39 single crochet up the side until you get to the end here. And then the final step of working the border will to be work 2 single crochet into that last corner. So work another increase right here in your final corner by working 2 single crochet into the same spot. And if you're using stitch markers, you'll be placing your stitch marker in the first single crochet made of that increase. Slip stitch to the first slip stitch made of the round, and at this point you should have 118 single crochet and 32 slip stitches. Now you need to repeat this entire process all over again to make a second panel. So go back and do everything that we just did for a second time. You can see me here slip stitching to that very first slip stitch. So I'm just inserting my hook, yarning over and pulling through. And after you make your panel, you can just go ahead and tie off. So just yarn over, pull through, and then cut your yarn. And you can do this for both panels. So again, at this point, if you don't have both panels made, you can pause the video and go back and rewatch it and remake a second panel. Both of them are exactly the same. And then after you have both panels made, we are going to be joining them together to create the bag. So place your panels wrong side together, and you can just tuck the ends in for now. Unless you want to weave them in at this point, that's fine too, but I'm just tucking mine in and we'll do it later. And so I'm just line up your panels, make sure your stitches are even and your rows are even. And we're going to be using our hook, our regular crochet hook, the 5.5 millimeter, to join the panels together. And we're just going to be crocheting around the outside and then add the upper trim and strap. So take your yarn, create a slip knot, and add your hook into it, and we're going to be joining through the panel here. So in that first upper left increase is where we are going to be inserting our hook. If you use stitch markers, that's where you're going to be placing your hook, and if you didn't, it is in the second single crochet of that corner increase. So put your hook through that second single crochet of the corner increase on both the panels. And then you're going to just be yarning over and pulling through both the panels and through the loop on your hook to join. Then after that, you can chain one. And then in that same stitch on both panels, you can work your first single crochet. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, and yarn over, pull through both loops. And you're going to just keep working one single crochet stitch through every stitch down the side of the panels. So make sure your stitches are lined up evenly and that you're not accidentally skipping any on either of the panels. And just insert your hook through both the panels through the same stitch and work one single crochet all the way down. And then when you reach the second corner or the bottom left corner, you will be working an increase where your stitch marker is, and if you didn't use stitch markers, it is the first single crochet of the bottom left corner increase. You will be working 2 single crochet into that spot. So just keep going by working your single crochets down the side until you reach that bottom left corner. Okay, so now I've worked my single crochet stitches down the side, and we're at the increase at the bottom left corner, and in that first single crochet of the increase is where we're going to increase again. So insert your hook and then work a single crochet stitch, and in that same spot work a second single crochet stitch. So you have 2 in the same spot, and then you're just going to continue on by working one single crochet for every single stitch along the bottom of the bag. So just keep working with one stitch in each stitch, and then when you get to the bottom right corner, I will show you what to do there as well. We'll be working another increase. So when you reach the bottom right corner of the bag, you're going to work just one single crochet into that first single crochet of the increase. And then in the second single crochet of that increase is where we will be working 2. So work 2 single crochet into that same spot. If you're using stitch markers, of course it'll be in the spot where your stitch marker is. And then after that, you can just rotate and keep working up the second side of the bag. So work one single crochet in every single stitch until you get to the top right corner. Okay, so now we've worked our way around sewing the panels together, and we're back to the beginning. Your final single crochet should be in the stitch with the stitch marker or the first single crochet of that corner increase. And now we're going to go directly into working the upper trim. So in the second stitch of that corner increase, you're going to work 2 single crochet into it. So in that second stitch of that corner increase, work 2 more single crochet, and we're going to keep going by working 1 single crochet in every single stitch along the top of the first panel. So work 1 single crochet into the next, and continue by working 1 single crochet in every single stitch. Remember, these are slip stitches, so it might be a little awkward to get your hook into it at first, but just wiggle it under and work 1 single crochet for every stitch across this first panel. Okay, so now we've worked our way across that first panel, and when you get to the edge here and the seam of both panels sewn together, we're going to be working 1 single crochet into the actual seam. So you can see where I've joined the panels, there's a little space right there. We're going to work 1 single crochet into it just so that there's no holes or gaps in our bag. And then you are going to work 1 single crochet into the first stitch of the next panel, which will be the second stitch of the increase that we had done. So work a single crochet into that stitch, and then just continue along this panel by working 1 single crochet into every single stitch across. So just as we did with that first panel, work your single crochet stitches into every single slip stitch across this second panel. When you reach back around to the beginning, you are going to work 1 single crochet into the seam again, just as we did on the other side. So right into that little gap where we had sewn our pieces together and joined them together, you're going to work a stitch into that. And then you're going to skip over that very first single crochet of the round that we made. So that very first stitch of the increase that we made at the beginning of this round for the upper trim, where we worked 2 single crochet into the same spot, you're just going to ignore it, pretend it's not there, and skip directly over it, and then slip stitch to join into the second single crochet we made of the round, and yarn over and pull through, joining the round 1, and you should have a total of 70 single crochet since we skipped that first one. So 70 single crochet is what you should have at this point. And now we're going to go directly into round 2. And round 2 is very easy. Just chain 1, and in that same stitch work a single crochet, and then in every single stitch around you will be working 1 single crochet. So just work your stitches all the way around. And when you get back around to the beginning, just slip stitch to join in the first single crochet that we made. And again, your stitch count will be the same with 70 single crochet. And then at this point, you can just tie off. So yarn over, pull through, and go ahead and cut your yarn. And this completes the main body of the bag. And so now at this point, we just have to make the strap and sew the strap on. So we are done with the bag besides weaving in ends, and now we'll go ahead and make the strap and sew it on. So to create the strap, you're going to go ahead and grab your yarn and make a slip knot. Make sure you leave a very long tail for sewing. Doesn't have to be super long, but enough to sew this first side of the strap to your bag. So just leave some extra length. And then to begin, you're going to chain 2. And in that very first chain that you made, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first loop, and yarn over, pull through both loops. And this is 1 foundation single crochet, and you are going to do 155 foundation single crochet for the strap. So you can just repeat this. You can see again that when you work your next one, it creates a little V along the bottom there, and you're just going to repeat the same thing over and over. So you can see the V's that it makes. If you rotate your work, that's where you insert your hook to create this foundation stitch. And if you need a little bit more help on it, I do have a video on how to do the foundation single crochet that goes a bit slower. So you can see I'm inserting my hook into the V from the stitch below it, yarning over, pulling up a loop, yarning over, pulling through one, and yarning over, pulling through two. And every time you do that is one foundation single crochet. So I did a total of 155, and my strap ended up being quite long after I sewed it to the bag and added some things to my bag. It stretched out a bit, so I ended up tying a knot on mine at the shoulder. So if you don't want yours as long, I recommend just not doing as many stitches, or if you want it longer than what mine is in the photos, you can add more. It's really all up to you. It does not matter how many you do. So just to adjust that, you are just going to add more or less foundation stitches here at this point. And alternatively, if you do not want to do foundation row, you can always chain the length that you desire and then work a single crochet in the second chain from the hook and back down, and that could be the first row of your strap. So once you have a total of 155 foundation single crochet or your desired length, you are just going to be chaining one, turning your work, and then you can work one single crochet into every single stitch back across the row. So just work one single crochet per stitch. And when you get to the end of the row, again, you can just chain one and turn and repeat that again. I did my strap a total of 5 rows. So this is row 2, and then I did row 3, 4, and 5 as well, but you can make it as wide or as thin as you want. So you're welcome to add more rows or do less rows, just depending on how wide you would like your strap. Okay, so this is the end of row 5, and after you have as many rows as you want, you can just yarn over, pull through, and tie off. And again, make sure you're leaving a tail long enough to sew this side of your strap to your bag as well. So at this point, you're going to need a yarn needle to sew the strap to your bag. And it totally does not matter where you place your strap. I placed mine along the seams, which I do recommend that, but you can decide if you want them on the inside, on the outside, if you want them flush with the bag, however you prefer. I decided to sew mine to the outside of the bag. I just liked the look of it, but you can switch it up if you want to. It's not going to make a difference. So just using my yarn needle, I use the tail of yarn, and I'm just sewing all the way around the bottom of the strap and to the upper edge of the bag. And I ended up sewing and going around just a couple of times to make it extra secure. So it was kind of just like a little rectangular shape. Worked along the back here, sewing, and then back down and across the bottom of the end of the strap. And you are going to want to do this for both sides as well. And once you have your strap sewn on, the only thing left to do is weave in ends. So to do that, you're just going to need your yarn needle as well. And then you're just going to weave the tail of yarn that you have sticking out back and forth through your stitches 2 or 3 times, just to make sure everything's secure and that the ends won't pop out. And just repeat this with every single yarn tail that you have sticking out, and then you can just go ahead and cut the excess yarn that's hanging off. And that completes this bag. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions for me or any pattern requests or anything you would like to see from me. And be sure to stay tuned for my next tutorial video. I'll see you guys next time.